is just doing what it's been doing. And so if we look at the historical aspect of that as well, up until like, let's call it literally 120 years ago, women were in the home. Women only started going to work like an outside job. Like I said, 200 years ago, even before that, the women were actually responsible for like selling the fruits and everything that came from the crops. They were the ones that were making the pies and the bread and everything. They were running the shops at the front of the house while the men were in the back tilling the fields, right? Or doing whatever laborious job that they were there for. That being said, up until about 120 years ago, right before World War I started, we didn't have jobs, like formal jobs. And when World War I started and all the men left, we were forced into the workplace, right? And when those men came back, we were kind of like, well, we can work too. But, and it kind of was a flip. But permission to get a little conspiracy theorist over here.
Yes, please do. We love it.
Okay, so I believe that this was by design. This was by design because the more that we break down the family unit, if we take the man out as the protector and provider, we leave women to fend for themselves, right? If war comes and shit hits the fan, yes, we have women who are in the army. But let's be serious, if somebody comes and invades your home country, the country you're living in, as a woman, are you fighting them out of your home? If the police kick down your door you know what I mean? And we're seeing this happen. And we're coming to these places right now. Like civil war is imminent at this point, right? Like I don't know if everyone agrees with me on that or not. But to me, it seems like we're heading very close into World War III. When somebody comes to kicking your door to come and take your kid, or whatever the situation is, if there's no man there to protect you, it's just a woman. You think a woman is going to be fighting? Yeah, she will, but the fight is going to be over a lot sooner.
But against weapons, it won't matter if it's a man or a woman. They're done. But I mean,
I would assume that's the argument of the NRA and why they're just like trying to take down as many barriers as possible to firearms. But that's another discussion.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't want to talk about
yeah, that's a whole other.
That's another little can of worms.
Yeah, so
that would go crazy.
But what I do think is that, right, if we break down these units, right, we don't have the man as going, no, that's not going to work. We have this emotional side, right, as women. And I don't want to paint it as a negative, because in the right scenarios, it is a positive. But women, and I don't want to say women are dumb. Like I'm sitting with two very intelligent women. I've met plenty of intelligent women.
You are very intelligent. Say that about yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, I would consider myself an intelligent woman. I don't like to toot my own horn, but I think that we are emotional, right? We are emotional creatures. And so it can get easier to manipulate us, especially when it comes to our children, right? And so we'll be like, okay, I just don't want anything to happen. Whereas a man is going to be like, F this shit. You're not taking my kid. You're not you know what I mean? You're not going to just walk into my home. Whereas most women are just going to be like, I don't know what to do, and I don't want to paint women as completely damsel in distress, but let's be realistic. There's still a lot of us that are. So the end of the day, we've now pulled out the man as that unit that is the protector and provider. So the mom can just be in her feminine and just make sure. And I also think that, I also think that these roles, right, are designed to protect the children. At the end of the day, it's here to protect the offspring, because our sole purpose on this earth is actually to continue our human race. Everything else is just kind of fluff that we've made up.
I hear what you're saying. I think for me, I totally hear what you're saying. And I feel the sacrifice, like with my own kids, that they've missed out on the last few years with me. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to do what I did 10 years ago and be at home. That wouldn't be enough for me now, having seen the other side of things. And now that I see what's possible in life, in the business world. So and what I can see in the future, to me, and it might sound selfish, but like, you know, I started out doing this for them, like for my family, so that we could have a better life. So we could go to Disneyland and not worry about what it's going to cost, and go anywhere in the world and not worry about it. I'd pay off my mortgage, you know, so many things. That changed. I don't know if you guys saw the show Breaking Bad, but there was a part in, I don't know what season it was, such a good show back when I watched TV, but there was a part in it where the wife, you know, found out about what he was doing with the drugs and everything. And she said to him, don't tell me that you did this for us. I don't want to hear it that you did it for us. Please don't tell me that. And Walter White, his role in the show, he's just like, I'm not going to tell you that. He's like, I didn't do it for you. I did it for me. And I was like, you know, it just hit. Like it sounds, it sounds selfish, but like, you're the only person that you wake up with and you go to bed at night. It's you. And so you want to make sure you make your life count. I mean, so many mothers will grow up, or I mean, kids will grow up after their kids have grown and they're out of the house. And then the wife is left like with, where's my identity? What have I, you know, I raised these kids in that empty nest syndrome. They're gone. And then, oh, now what? Okay, I guess I got to pick up my career, because I'm not just going to stay at home and clean the house all day. Like maybe I would have thought differently 5 years ago that's what my life would have been. But then when I, you know, had the pivotal moment, wrote a letter to the VP of my bank where I worked, and that's when I realized I had to write for a living, everything changed. And so when I say everything changed, like when it came to mindset, when it came to belief, when it came to roles, all of that changed. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think it's different for everybody. I do.
Facts.
You know?
My friend dealt with that. She was like, you know, her baby's like not even 2 yet, but like her biggest fear was just like losing herself. Now she's starting to realize like she's not just a mother, she's a whole ass person who with a dynamic, she's a dynamic person. But I feel like sometimes, and I'm not against traditional rules, I just think holding them so rigidly is what makes people just afraid to ever want to be in them. Like, I know plenty of men who don't want to feel like it's solely their responsibility to hold shit down, or women who don't solely want to be the only person, like, you know, managing the household. And it's just like, it makes people feel like they have no choice. Like there really is no choice. And if God forbid you make that choice, you're selfish, you're fucking up the family, you're not a real woman, or you're not a real man. And I'm just like, why?
One thing I will say, and like, it might sound a little bit like, what's the word, hypocritical, and I don't mean to sound like that, but I do understand the whole dynamic. And I know, Sydney, you might agree with me on this, where if you have the man like in that role where they're doing all the things that the wife usually would do in history past, then they kind of lose that alpha male title, and women aren't really attracted to like the non-alpha male. And so like, I want to tread lightly in that area. And it's different for everyone. It's different for everyone. But I think that's why there's something to be said about how a toxic relationship has the most passion, because it's toxic. That doesn't make it good. Because they've got the alpha male and they've got the submissive female, whatever. So, and even in romance novels, that's what you see. It's alpha male and a submissive female in most of them. You know, I'm writing one, so.
I mean, it's cute in a book, but in humans, in dynamic, emotionally growing, thinking humans, all it does is become just a power dynamic that should have never happened. You go onto a same team and then you make a power dynamic within that team. Like, why? Like, no.
Like, so, I almost feel like you can't have it all, and like never say never say forever. And I'm starting to realize, like, as you get older, you almost become a little more cynical or skeptical, I guess you could say, about these kinds of things, just because people change and like the dynamic changes on the household. Like, I mean, how many people would you say are married for their whole lives and they stay the same in the same roles that whole time and nothing ever changes? I don't know if, I'm sure there are some. I can't think offhand. Like, why do people split in the first place? Why do they split up?
I mean, I have a theory. This is my theory. You know how like I say like people have like usually like 3 states of mind, right? Where they're just like in the unaware, the aware, and then the healing, right? Before a long time ago when it was just man working, woman at home, couldn't even legally have their own bank accounts. That was the unaware. It's like, all right, was everybody happy? Probably not, but we got the unaware. So it's like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like, this is how it is, right? No one's gonna change it. And then we got to the, like you said, the World War thing happened. Then we went to work. It's like now we're in the aware stage, and people are getting divorced because they're like, yo, I really don't fucking like this. I don't like this role that I thought I wanted. For both men and women. Like they got into these roles thinking that they wanted them, but then they realized just how rigid it was, how inflexible it was, how much it lacked teamwork, like legitimate teamwork, not I do this, you do that, and nothing else. Like that's not teamwork. That's you delegating like you're a boss. That's weird. And I'm just like, now people who are lasting together now are in the healing stage. They're like, we understand that there's things we don't like. We understand that there's things we grew up with that fucked us up. We understand that now we're aware of these negative triggers that cause us to act a certain way, behave a certain way, get into certain whatevers. But now we're actually working as a team to be better for each other. It's not just, let me just do my own thing so I can be better for me, or let me just do my own thing and be better for me. I'm like, when people do that relationship's gonna break. If you have 2 people in a relationship and they're only doing it in it for themselves to get better or for themselves and not as a unit, it's like, what was the point of you being a unit then? What was the point?
So I think that
Yeah.
I think that that's interesting that you brought that up, because again, going back to the importance, right, is that when you said that people are just like trying to do for them, I kind of feel like that idea that like, oh, a woman, now that the kids are out of the house, she should be going and trying to do all this extra stuff. Like, I think it's more so of, again, the lack of appreciation that we're seeing in that. But when we go ahead and we say like, okay, we have to do for ourselves, and now the man has to do for himself, we're already teaching ourselves to pull back. So when we ask why so many relationships are failing now, it's because we're not serving each other. We're self-serving. We're trying to be doing for ourselves. We're not trying to do for our partner. We're not trying to do for a unit. We're not working as a community anymore. We're the most divided as a society that we've ever been. And the last 3 years have been an eye-opening experience to show that, right? So I think that, we have to take those pieces hand in hand and say like, look, we're actually not putting into a relationship. We're almost being egotistical. Like, oh, well, now my job is over, or I feel like I need to be more. Why do you feel like you need to be more? Continue to take care of
That's
your
so deep.
husband.
I'm trying to sitting up in a backyard. Like I'm gonna be sitting in a backyard, sitting in
That's
mimosa.
what I'm saying. I'm like,
like
I'm sorry, if I had the opportunity to have a husband that I was like, you know what I mean? I've been raising the kids, they went off to college. I'm sorry. I've been working my ass off for 20 years or whatever it is. I'm gonna sit in the backyard by the fucking pool. I'm retired now.
exactly.
Enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy it. Thank you. I'm going, exactly. I want my mimosa. Yes, I'm going with the girls for tea or drinks or brunch or whatever it is. And that's my job now because I'm retired. If my husband is retired or not, because he's still the man, whatever he wants. But at the end of the day, that's the role he signed on for. Because like you said, that we all know when you're a mother, there's no off switch. So you're really putting in like 2 times the amount of work than your husband did. So if he's still working and you're sitting back and the kids have gone, stoops. That's how life.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I do. I do understand what you're saying. Um, it's a thankless job as a mother. It's a thankless job, like until you're at the age where you're experiencing it with your own kids. I didn't realize, what I put my mom through as a teenage girl, dating that bad boy that abused me. And then, she would just cry at night, well, I mean, still don't know what that's like. My daughter's 10, but like, I could, let's hope that doesn't come back as karma. But, but just other things experience, like, what you've put your parents through, but it's thankless. And so, but I could just see the writing on the wall though. Like they're going to be out of the house soon. And then where's my identity? Like I found my
Your
calling in
identity.
life.
Your identity is still you. you are still joy. You still have your personality, your love, your heart. And so
Facts.
even
You
even
want
at
to do
the end,
gardening after copywriting? Fucking, you can do gardening like kids. That's the
But
whole
like,
entire point. Is that you shouldn't
to
really
be
care
honest,
about what you're doing.
I want to work till I'm dead, but at least
Oh
that's
my
how I feel right now. Of course, I would love to sit by the pool and, go to Bali and have a trip with the girls and stuff like that. Be able to do that. It'll come to a point where everything will run itself.
yeah,
But
ride
I'm
the
not
high,
there
girl.
right now.
Ride the high. I'm riding the high. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'm riding it until it's over. So when it ends, it ends. But until it's over, I'm gonna
I'm
ride
still
the
in
high.
grind mode where I got to work my tail off morning, noon, and night every day.
so
So yeah,
okay.
I'm okay with it though. It's
Okay.
basically, but I'm also haven't been doing it for like 5-10 years. So let's have a podcast in a few years and talk, right?
Right, right. I think it's interesting because again, I'm coming from the side of like I would way prefer the traditional, but I am still in grind mode. I am because I am a single parent. I don't have that option as of now, but I am the same way in those aspects. Like for anyone who's followed me on my other podcast, I've mentioned it throughout. You guys know that on my Instagram it says billionaire pending. I do. I want my numbers 3 billion. I want to make 3 billion, but
Don't forget about Ashley and Joy when you
I,
Yo,
well,
facts.
yeah,
When you rich and famous, more rich and famous. Like,
I don't want fame. I don't want fame. I just want rich. Um,
oh, bro.
I just happen to just be falling back into this way again and again and again. Just, I guess it works for me. Um, but you know, the
you
end
can
of
have
the
hope.
day, the end of the day, I want to be able to still find that pride that before my company comes my husband. But also, that being said, I can't be with a man who doesn't have aspirations that are far past my own. I can't. So if you're not thinking about billions, we are not thinking about anything together. And it
Because
sounds
you're already a powerhouse of a woman. So it's
exactly. So I
intuition.
need to
I
know
hear that.
that my lifestyle, what I want for my life, I'm going to get. And if you're going to take me out of this role of powerhouse, I want to do that. I want to give. I want to serve my household. I love that feeling when I did have that opportunity. When I do have those opportunities, I get emotional. Like if it's silly, but because I was a single mom for so long, I was married for a little bit, and now I'm a single parent again. Those moments when I wasn't, I'd be like making muffins with my kids, and I'd be like bawling my eyes out. Like I'm so lucky to have this. I'm so lucky to have this opportunity and this support that I can just
That
take
makes so
this
much
time.
sense, though. That makes
And
so much sense, though.
because I'm teaching my kids about that nurture and about creating that community within the home. Ah, shit. Did I freeze again? We're good.
We can still hear
You're
you.
talking, but you're
Okay.
getting frozen. There you go. Now you're moving. Yeah.
But I'm teaching my kids that, and I have little boys, I'm giving them nurture and I'm teaching them what love looks like and what femininity looks like, and not saying that they have to be feminine, right? I still want them to be masculine men. I still want them, but I want them to know what being the protector of a flower is. I want them to understand that they're growing a garden, right? And they have to protect that garden from any predators, the rabbits that are going to come eat the vegetables. They need to make sure that the bounty that we are building as a family is protected, but they have to they have to know what love is. But love for men, and I really honestly do not think that we're ever going to teach men, alpha men or masculine men. I don't think we're going to teach them how to be feminine. I don't think we're going to ever be able to teach them how to be emotional because it's literally just not in their genetics. And
Yeah, I agree with
nowadays,
that.
you also look at the diets, right? If we start looking at the diet that we're having, they know if you test the water, there's like a ridiculous amount of estrogen in the water. Chicken is pumped of
Antibiotics.
estrogen. They're trying to rid the idea of eating stuff like beef. They're trying to push veganism. Now, I'm not against people eating, healthy or anything like that, but there are certain nutrients that um, men need versus women, because fundamentally, biologically, we have different types of glands that produce different types of hormones that are supposed to create those. And if we're feeding them the wrong things, then we get off, which is where mental health issues come from, which is where, you know what I mean? We're having, it's a whole other discussion, but we have people feeling like they're not that gender anymore. These are things that are happening, and this is in my opinion, highly dietary involved, or the diet is highly involved with this. And so, you know, like we were kind of talking about before, how men now are kind of like letting back. There's multiple factors that we're not even seeing as a society, right? We're not seeing that it's just like, oh, men are going to work, and now, okay, well, they can take a step back so the women can work because they're balanced. They're not balanced. Men are like raging right now. We're seeing like skyrockets of like men who are raging. The violence towards women is actually increasing rather than decreasing. We're seeing these things because these men don't know. And I'm not saying that it's up to us as women that we have to tell them how to act or whatever, but biologically we're forgetting, right? That it's actually easier to teach us to be self-sufficient because survival is just something that humans do. Whereas changing someone from being, you know, in survivor and being the protector provider to trying to bring them to an emotional level, you're creating a whole other type of human, if you will. You know, I don't know if that makes sense.
I would say that it's just redefining what protection looks like. Like, I don't need to be protected from a bear. What I need to be protected is from like emotional breakdowns. I need someone to give me a protected space that I can have those breakdowns in. I feel like if I were to get with a masculine man, he wouldn't be able to give me that. He wouldn't be able to give me mental safety. Yeah. He would like, yeah, he could probably take down some fucking dude breaking down the door. But I'm like, if I'm in an emotional need, protect me from my damn self. Protect me from my brain literally attacking itself. I think men would do best to just reimagine what it means to protect, because it's still protecting. Like, if I have a friend who looks like she's about to break down crying, the way it feels in my body is protection. The way it feels in my body is like, I want to go and hug you because I feel something happening. I feel you're emotionally and mentally in danger. So I want to protect you in that way. Like, that's how protection feels to me. And maybe it would be good for them to think about protection in that way. Like, your kids don't need, I mean,
like they're protecting your heart.
Yes, like protect my mind, protect my peace, protect my heart, protect me from the world's demons, because now they don't look like someone ramming me in the car or someone snatching me in an alley. Now it's like a boss treating me like shit, or a friend being a manipulative asshole. Like, that's what it looks like.
Coming home and crying and not having a place to go to.
That is the danger.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I had a masculine husband, he can't, and I'm telling him about this friend of mine who I can't tell who's a manipulative asshole. And if he can't either, well, I guess I'm just gonna stay in the shark with this bitch then. Then I'm just gonna stay in it. I'm gonna stay in this manipulative cycle that I myself can't see. But had my partner been any more emotionally intelligent or any more emotionally present and close to me, they'd be like, you know what, you telling me about this friend, the math ain't mathing, shit ain't adding up. You know, I think you should probably stop being friends with this person. You should probably stop being with that friend. Because sometimes the women can't do it for you. And unless you're lesbian, you're probably not going to be married to a woman. You're going to be married to a dude. And I would hope that the person you're spending your life with, that you're going to bed every day with, that you're spending the most of your time with, raising these kids with, that they be able to have the mental and emotional capacity to be able to do that for you. Versus just, I don't need your money, man. Would your money be nice? Yes. If I could stay home and be like, what? That would be great. That would be great. I like my job. Don't get me wrong. I love what I do. But if I could be like just home playing video games all day, best believe I'm choosing that in a heartbeat. But it's like, I can't do that with a man who can't listen to me at the end of my day if some shit messed me up, and I can't talk to him because he's looking at me like with a blank fucking stare because he doesn't know what the hell I'm saying, because he doesn't understand what I'm saying. He's like, well, babe, the day will get better. No, you'll be okay. It'll be fine. I'm like, that's not what I need to hear. I need to hear that you're listening to me and that you hear me, that you see me. That can't happen if they're not emotionally intelligent.
Do you get that from, it wouldn't be enough to get that from your girlfriends, hey?
No, no.
No,
I
like you want it, I'm just trying to think myself in my
think
own.
for some people it can be. I think for some people it definitely can be, and kudos to them if they got that. For me, I because of just the way I treat my friendships, any friendship I have, man, woman, person, thing, animal, whatever, I need that intimacy. And that level of intimacy, if you're a close friend to me, is the same across the board. Am I going to expect you to fulfill every single need? No. But the intimacy and respect I'm getting from you as a friend, if you're a close friend, that's the same for everybody. It's why I only have a very close knit group of friends, because they met that need. They showed me that if I need you and I call you on this phone, you're gonna pick up. If I need you to come over, you got me. If I'm crying my eyes out and I need comfort, you've shown me that you can be reliable in that regard. That has put you in
So
the
you can't be with a guy who can't like let you cry on his shoulder and
no, because then at that point to me you're just somebody I'm having sex with who brings in money. That's how it would feel to me. That you're just someone who I have sex with and brings in money, and I can't
see, and I don't think that that man exists. Like, I don't
oh
think
my,
you can.
oh no, it does though, because my partner is exactly that.
Okay, what I mean by that is like the alpha male, the sexually attractive, and then the, you know, tell you they love you, and give you roses.
So my man is nowhere near classified as an alpha, but I find all the parts of him that I find sexy is because he has an emotional brain and gives me so much love and care and space to be my ugliest self. And even when I'm being a straight up bitch for whatever reason, whether it was a bad day, my period, or my parents said something, or a friend said some ugly shit. And it's like, even when he knows I don't mean like an ugly shit I said to him, he makes it so easy for me to just say, I'm sorry, because he's not a macho asshole to me. He makes it so easy for me to be like, as soon as I fucked up, I'm like, babe, I'm sorry. You really didn't even deserve that. He's like, I know you're sorry. And I love you. And you just, whatever you need, I'm here. And I'm like, and I just be looking at him like, bitch, stop.
And then you
like, stop it right now.
Yeah.
And it happens so seamlessly. I'm just like, oh, I love him.
I think the thing is that there's this idea that men can't have any emotion, and I don't think that's correct either. I actually think that men are highly emotional creatures. I actually think they're more emotional than we let them be, but also I think that their defense mechanism to be a man and to continue to be that strength is the mental for them, right? We all know that a man needs his peace. He needs to be able to have his peace, right? And so I'm not saying, oh, you shouldn't have a man that you can go talk to when you're exactly that, going off to a friend. In fact, that's a great example for going to your man and trusting in his leadership and going and divulging, hey, listen, this is what's going on with me right now. What do you think I should do? And actually having that bond and that trust to go, you know what, babe, I am really enamored with your leadership. And I think that your decision or what your suggestion to me, I'm going to trust that your lead is going to be the right answer.